Greetings, people of the internet! I am Lucha Man! Wearing my bat attire because today's Lucha Man review I will be discussing Batman, the Killing Joke. Now, this film is coming to Blu-ray and DVD, and I think it's also available for digital download for like your consoles. But for one night only, on Monday, July 25th of 2016, for one night only, in select theaters across the country, it actually had a theater showing. And here's an interesting thing. It wasn't shown in every theater, but a select few. It was for one night. And from what I saw on the internet, the film grossed over $3 million. $3,100,000 and something. But still, this is an animated film just showed for one night. That's impressive. That is fairly impressive. Now, before I get into the main review, I gotta cover a few things. For starters, this movie is based on a graphic novel I've never read. That's right, this novel has been out for roughly 28 years. It was released in March of 1988, so even though it's been out for a pretty long time, I haven't read it. So, because of that, I'm aware there's other people who probably haven't read it or seen the film, so I'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum. Now, even though I haven't read the series, let's see, I thumbed through it like once. No, even though I haven't read the comic, I read through it. I thumbed through it like once. And there's media in other places, like I have a book that discusses The Killing Joke in one of its segments. And there's other places I don't want to talk about. But I think it did a good adaptation from what was provided. I could see segments from the comic that were shown, that did show up in the film. Even in both visually and in audio. And speaking of audio, of course, who else to better play Batman and the Joker than Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill? That's right, they're back. Let's see, another feature is that this film is rated R, and for a good reason. There is language, there is violence, there is blood, and there is a little bit of graphicalness of the violence. So please, view responsibly. And if you're going to get this as a gift for someone, like I said, it's rated R, so don't be giving this to like a 5-year-old kid. Please. Like I said, buy responsibly, view responsibly, make sure all that. Alright, now then. The day before this film came out, there was some controversy. They decided to expand a little bit on a character and a backstory element that wasn't featured in the original comic book. They added into it, and some fans saw criticism with it. Now, I saw the animated series and Batman Beyond and Justice League, and I gotta admit, it incorporated some stuff that we saw in Batman, the animated series, and in Batman Beyond. There was some story stuff that was there, and it also, well, it does seem to have a pretty good tie-in with the Arkham series. So, I know some people may not like it, but I personally, I thought it didn't overdo it. It didn't like shoehorn it in there. It felt right from what I saw from the animated series beforehand. If you don't like it, then I'm sorry. That's your takeaway, not mine. But I thought it was genuinely good. Speaking of good, and of the animated series, it reminded me so much of the animated series. It had a great visual style. It was like it had the main stuff from like the early 90s, the first 3 seasons. The 4th season, well, it had a bit of a darker tone. It was more angular, so it did have a few things from that, but not completely. It had some visual elements that would be in the style of the Justice League series, and the dark tones and settings of the Batman Beyond. It seemed to be a very good encapsulation of all things of the Batman animated universe. It was very good, and it did pay some tribute to other aspects of the Batman universe. How do I know this? Because there were 2 other features involved with this film. At the very beginning of the film, Mark Hamill discusses how he was trying out for Luke Skywalker, and then how he went into the role of the Joker. I won't go into what he talks about, but it's a really good piece. Mark Hamill does a really good job discussing about his role as the Joker and various other elements, which I won't spoil for you here. Now, at the end of the film, after the credits rolled, there was a segment called The Music of the madness, or music of madness, music behind the madness. Music and madness are the two key factors here. It talks about the people who were composing and writing the music for and figuring out the pacing and tone of the film. And I thought it was really cool because, yeah, Batman is a good series and there is great music associated with it. It was a really good piece, one of the best things about this film was all of this awesomeness was condensed into roughly maybe 100 minutes, give or take. That's right, this film in total, with the Mark Hamill at the beginning and the music piece at the end, about 100 minutes, hour and a half, hour 40 minutes. Really good runtime. It didn't overstay its welcome, and it didn't feel too short, and it did warrant a cinema release. Yeah, I love this. This is just great. It shows that you can tell a great story, and you don't need to stretch it out like to 2 to 3 hours or 3 films in total. Yeah, that was a pot shot at the Hobbit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to do that. I'm sorry. Yeah, so this was a very good film. If you're a fan of Batman, if you're a fan of the animated series, if you loved the Arkham series, I highly recommend you get this movie. Like I said, it's probably getting ready for a digital download, and it'll be out on physical discs sometime later. The plot is, well, it's a Batman film, so it's a Batman film, it's set in Gotham City, and if you can tell from the cover, one of the main factors, the main villain of this piece is, and of course from Mark Hamill, the legendary Joker is once again running amok in Gotham. And quite possibly has one of the strangest endings I've ever seen. Won't spoil it, but just very strange. And Mark Hamill once again delivers a great performance. And Kevin Conroy, also a great performance. So now there was like maybe, there's like maybe one element that I was trying to figure out. It seemed a little out of place with the movie, with the universe and Batman, but the whole thing, it is a very dark setting, very dark tone. So I could see it might fit in there, but and also with the Arkham series. But that one thing just kind of stuck with me as I thinking, did that just really happen? Well, Batman was never anything, you know, upbeat and peppy. But and the only upbeat and peppy thing I could possibly think of is how, I won't say where and I won't say how, but there was an element from Batman, the Brave and the Bold, is somewhere in this film. And when you see it, you might figure out where it is. You might recognize it, especially with some other segments in the film. Anyway, I've rambled on really long about this. I'm sorry, but it is just really good. And I'm sorry it took me so long to get this up. This was a great movie. I give it a 9 3/4 out of 10. I took off one quarter of a point because of that one thing I was just thinking about, the thing that kind of felt a little out of place, but still. This film, it is amazing. Really great work. And the fact that so many people went to these select theaters just to see it for one night. I think the theater I was at, they had a showing about half an hour after the first one ended, so two showings for one night, but still, it's amazing. Warner Animation Group did a great job. I never read the story, but from what segments I did have at my disposal, both visuals and audio, I think they did a really good job with it. So yeah, 9 3/4 out of 10, 9.75 out of 10. It is a great movie. Go see it. Or, I mean, pick it up, buy it, get it on digital download, and like I said, it is R, so please, if you're going to enjoy it, enjoy and view responsibly. Alright, I've rambled on long enough about it. There was so much to cover, it was so great, but hey, 10 minutes compared to seeing this whole thing, it is worth your time. Thank you for sticking with me for this review. Until next time, this has been Lucha Man! I am vengeance, I am the night, and I am wishing you have a nice day, and keep watching.